Okay, let's just kick things off with a quote that, it probably hits a little too close to home for a lot of us, right? If you've ever found yourself stringing together a bunch of shell scripts with cron jobs and, a bit of duct tape, you know exactly what Tom Bayans is talking about. We've all been there, just trying to automate the chaos.
But what if we could actually move beyond those late-night ad hoc solutions? In this explainer, we are going to break down the real principles, the platforms, and all the plumbing behind modern automated workflows. We're going to turn that familiar developer itch into a powerful, scalable system.
So here's the plan. We'll start with a concrete problem. Then we'll explore the building blocks that let systems talk to each other. After that, we'll look at the platforms that basically conduct this whole orchestra, peek under the hood at the core engine principles, and then finally, we'll tie it all together with a real-world example you can actually use.
All right, so let's get real for a second. Let's ground this whole thing in reality. Imagine you're a content creator, or maybe a researcher, or just a curious dev. You've got this massive YouTube playlist, and you need to get the text, the transcript out of every single video. Doing that by hand? No way. That is our automation task.
So the challenge is really this. How do you build a process that can take a simple playlist URL and then spit out high-quality transcripts? And this isn't just some hypothetical problem. It's a real need that's led to some fantastic open-source tools, like the GitHub bulk transcriber we're going to touch on later, that unlock all the knowledge that's just buried inside video content.
So where do we even begin to build a solution like that? Well, the very first step is getting different services to talk to each other. And in the world of automation, that conversation really happens in two main ways, through API connectors and through webhooks. You can think of these as the fundamental language of the automated web.
An API connector is, it's essentially a structured, polite way for one app to ask another, hey, can I have some information? It's just a wrapper around a REST API that standardizes the whole process of making requests and handling responses. Think of it as the formal, scheduled meeting between two different systems.
A webhook, on the other hand, it completely flips that model on its head. People call it a reverse API. So instead of your application constantly asking anything new, the service proactively sends a notification to a URL you provide the moment an event happens. It's not a scheduled meeting, it's a real-time push notification that screams, hey, something just happened.
And while it might sound kind of complicated, the actual process for receiving a webhook is pretty straightforward. You expose a URL, you prove you own it by just responding to a simple challenge, and bam, you're ready for data. But, and this is a big but, from there the crucial part is security. You never, ever blindly trust incoming data. Best practice is to either send a minimal notification and then use a secure API to get the full details, or you mathematically sign the entire payload with a secret key so your receiver can prove it's the real deal.
Now sure, you could code all of these connectors and webhook listeners by hand, but that's just reinventing the wheel, isn't it? This is exactly where workflow orchestration platforms come in. They're like the conductor for your automation orchestra.
Platforms like NNN, Make, or Zapier that give you this visual canvas. Each step in your process, whether it's an API call, a bit of data transformation, or a conditional branch, is a node. You just connect these nodes to build a flow, and you let the platform handle all the messy stuff underneath, like authentication, retries, and error handling. So let's just quickly compare the big three. You've got Zapier, which is the king of simplicity and has a ton of integrations, perfect for non-technical users. Then there's Make, which has this fantastic visual interface and offers great value, kind of hitting that sweet spot for intermediate users. And then you have N8N, the open-source, self-hostable powerhouse that's really built for developers. So the takeaway is that you're making a trade-off. Zapier gives you speed, Make gives you visual power, and NNN gives you ultimate control if you're willing to handle the tech side.
And this quote from a developer on Reddit just nails why platforms that embrace code are so powerful. Pure no-code can start to feel really restrictive. The ability to just drop into code for some custom logic like you can in N8N or Pipedream, it gives you an escape hatch. It's the ultimate flexibility to build exactly what you need. Okay, so these platforms are amazing, but what's actually powering them? What are the core computer science principles that make them tick? Let's pop the hood and go into the engine room.
This idea is just so important. For the longest time, every workflow product was its own bespoke, monolithic thing. The goal now is to standardize the core engine concepts, just like relational theory did for databases. This separation is what allows for real innovation on both the engine logic and the infrastructure it runs on.
So what are these fundamental concepts? Well, first, workflows are directed graphs. Simple enough.
Second, they have to support wait states. Think about it. A workflow might need to pause for days waiting for a human approval. To do that without losing its place, the engine has to save its current state to a database, which brings us to the third principle, persistence. And finally, concurrency, the ability to split the flow into parallel paths and then merge them back together. These four principles are really what separate a true workflow engine from just a simple script.
So how does an engine manage all this? How does it handle pausing, resuming, talking to dozens of other services without completely falling apart? It needs a backbone. And for pretty much any modern distributed system, that backbone is the message queue. It's the central nervous system that keeps everything in sync.
Now, when you're choosing a message queue, you're making a huge architectural decision. RabbitMQ is a super versatile traditional message broker. It's great for complex routing and task queues. Kafka, on the other hand, is a distributed event streaming platform built for absolutely insane throughput and durability. It's more complex, for sure, but it's the standard for real-time data pipelines at massive scale. The choice you make really depends on what you need for routing, scale, and data retention.
All right, we've gone from high-level platforms all the way down into the engine room theory. Now let's bring it all back up and see how these concepts actually come together to solve our original YouTube playlist problem.
This open source script is a perfect little micro workflow. It uses PyTube as a connector to the YouTube API. It then orchestrates a series of tasks, download the audio, transcribe it with a powerful local model like Whisper, process the text with an NLP library like Spacey for clean sentence breaks, and finally, save the output. It's a completely self-contained automation pipeline.
And this diagram just illustrates the bigger picture perfectly. Our little script follows this exact pattern. It collects data, the audio. It uses a model, Whisper, for inference. It then analyzes the output and creates structured text. This whole process is a form of topic discovery. We're literally extracting the core information, the topics of conversation, from unstructured video data.
So, here's the crucial point. That Python script isn't just a script, it's a miniature self-contained workflow engine. It embodies all the principles we've just talked about. It connects, it orchestrates, it processes, and it manages state, even if that's just in memory for a short time. It is a tangible example of the entire stack in action.
So we've gone from a simple developer joke all the way to a full stack architecture. The platforms and the principles to build these powerful automations, they're not just for massive enterprise teams anymore. They're accessible to every single one of us. So the final question is, what process in your daily life, what tedious, repetitive task is just sitting there waiting for you to build its workflow?